There she goes, Ishikawa-san. You missed your by about 30 seconds. Mom with the kids, jogging the kids Saturday morning. Look at that. Having the camera just sit here all day would be fun, you know. Good morning, Saturday morning, Saturday morning. Pigeon cam. For those of you who are just joining, we've had a couple of links. We've actually had a bit of conversation going on here for the past 15 minutes or so. So let me pop in a couple of links here. This is the signboard from next door's restaurant. They are opening on the 26th. We've had news from them. I chatted with a girl yesterday. They're in their final stages of testing. They had staff interviews and stuff yesterday, and they're opening on the 26th. And we're having trouble with the asphalt. You know, I've been out there a couple of times a day sweeping up. You can see the asphalt, the little black stones. It's breaking up pretty badly. And they sweep up and I sweep up, and all day long we sweep up, but it's still breaking up. So they better do something with this pretty soon, or it's gonna be a hole. Very quiet. This is another Saturday in lockdown, so many of the restaurants are actually complying with the law. The cafe across the street, you see down here on the left-hand side, they're shut. The sign says we're reopening after the lockdown is over, February the 7th. The oyster restaurant next door, bang, they're shut. These guys have made their calculation. The Tokyo government has offered $60,000 a day to any small-scale restaurant that decides to just shut down for the duration of this thing. And the small-scale restaurants, if they get free $600 or so for a day, that's it. Just tell staff to go home and they pocket the money. Larger restaurants can't do that. So all the small ones around here have closed down. The cafe is gone. The oyster restaurant's gone. Yeah. Microphone. Sorry about this. Hi. Details. John is my executive producer here, and I'm watching all the things that are going on. And so. John, we're going to have to give you a raise. I don't know. Okay, today is a real mix of jobs. I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do here. I know. I may even have time for some carving. I don't know. So preparation. I know Yamamoto-san came over yesterday. He brought a new batch of prints that he just finished. Yamamoto-san is the boy who does our great wave printing. And he doesn't do great wave, only great wave for us. That would just drive him crazy. So we give him great wave, then another job, then great wave, then another job. But also in between that, he does work for the Doi Hanga company. And he's just about to take on the Doi Hanga Arakawa Gogatsu no Ame. Anyway, he's just turned this in to me, and it looks good, it looks good. We haven't been out of stock of this. We've been getting low, so just in time, he has brought this new batch. So I'll have to go through and check, pull out the chiri, send them through to Ome for packing. Then this is top secret. You're not supposed to see this. Oh, that one's okay. This is another batch of 100 copies of the New Year card. We're way behind. We've done about 400 of them, but we're going to need about 900. So those of you who are, if you're Patreons, they will be mailed on Monday. And if you're not a Patreon, if you're a person who's just waiting for a normal generic New Year card from us, they will be mailed bit by bit over the next few months as I get them. This is a batch from Ayumi-san. This has been in the freezer for 4 or 5 months. Ayumi-san was working for us last autumn. She got pregnant, went home halfway through a job, and she left the job in the freezer. Then she came back to us last week. She is getting big, but not so big that she can't work. So she's going to do a month or maybe a couple of months until she gets too big to actually physically work, and then she'll be gone for another couple of years. So she pulled this out of the freezer on Wednesday or Thursday, finished them off. We still get demand for this. This is a it's doing really well in our catalog. Really well in our catalog. Paper is out. Yes, paper is out. Ishikawa-san is here today, and I got her paper out at 6 o'clock this morning. So I'm not going to sit here doing the paper surgery on those. I have another job to do first because it's an embossing. I have to do some embossing first. This also arrived yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. And this is from Kubota-san. And we normally don't get Kubota-san to do our subscription prints. The girls upstairs do the subscription prints. But we are running way behind. Way behind. So Yudei-chan did a batch of these, about 80 copies, and instead of Ishikawa-san doing a batch of them, we told her, skip ahead to the March print, which is what she's doing now, to try and catch up, and we will call in an outside gun. We call in heavy guns, and Kubota-san did 150 copies of these for me over the past week. And he has aced it, just aced it. It's like printing money, you know. This guy is so freaking good at this. He's so good at this. This is the February print, so I'm not technically supposed to be showing it online, but we did already show this when I was promoting the series. It's a Koryusai print, and this is Koryusai's version of a cat. It looks like a cat, I think nobody would argue. I'm not sure about that pink. Is this supposed to be the pink inside the ears, or has he got pink ear decorations on? I don't know. And Chon-san has aced this. Chon-san carved this way more delicately than I would have wanted him to, because it makes it much more difficult for the printers. It's not just a question of size. He has really cut some of these lines a bit thinner than was necessary, but it gives it a beautiful, beautiful, delicate appearance. And a rich, rich black. And you can't see, there's some embossing. The lacquered table is embossed here, but it doesn't show in this light. And the color scheme here, we've used some of the original Koryusai color scheme, but we've also gone with our own, for two reasons. One is the originals that we're seeing here are so faded, it's impossible to tell what the original colors were. And the other is, back in this era, there was only a very limited palette being used, and there were no gradations. So this year we are going to take each one of these original designs and we're going to make it look a bit more attractive. Anyway, my job today now, I have to emboss the name here, because you've heard this story before. Kubota-san doesn't care about having his name on it. And it's not just that he doesn't care about having his name on it, he couldn't be bothered to put his name on it. He thinks it's extra time for him that is irrelevant. He just says, leave it off, I don't care about my name. And we want people's names on these prints. So he says, well, that's okay, you want the name on it? Do it yourself. So I have to do this myself. I'm going to need, what am I going to need here? Do I know the name of the plant in the background? I do not. It appears in a number of ukiyo-e prints, and usually we see it outside. For one example, the Tokaido series, the print of Akasaka, not Asakusa, the Tokaido print of Akasaka. There's a Japanese ryokan, and we can see the garden of the ryokan, and there's a bunch of these in there, and I have no idea what it is. Now, I'm sure among all the people on the stream here, somebody will know what it is. And if you look up Hiroshige, Tokaido, Akasaka, you'll see another example of the same plant, but larger outside. I think that will do us. So what I think I'll do is, because there's 150 of them here, it makes no sense for me to sit here doing 150 of the same print. So let me work my way halfway through the batch. I've got to do this today because they've got to be sent to Ome this afternoon. So let me work about halfway through, and then we'll skip to another job. And also, please remind me, Anna, we have another peel test today. I fooled around yesterday after we finished that double peel, and I've got the paper ready for an attempt. It's not going to work, so don't get excited. It is not going to work. But we have an attempt ready for a third peel. But I'll forget, so remind me, maybe remind me like partway along or something. But it's not going to work, so anyway. Okay, let me do a bit of this work. What's this? This is This is an example of that kind of nori that's sold. I guess I must have been trying to explain to somebody how to find the nori and draw a picture of it. I don't remember. So double check. Hori Chon carving Kubota. Carved by Chon-san, printed by Kubota. Let's go. Let's do this. I guess I should go and get some tape and make a real kento here. I don't have any tape within arm's reach. Let's have a look. So there we have it. It's Hori, it's the characters for Chon and Suri Kubota Kenichi. And this is really thin paper. And Kubota-san, whatever, I can't criticize him for this because he did what he had to do to make a good print. He calendared this paper before he made the print. And he didn't use a printing press for this. He had a blank sheet of cherry wood. And before he started printing, on the back of the paper, the whole thing, he calendared it really flat, ready for printing so he'd get smooth color. And because the paper has been made flat, it doesn't leave a whole lot of body left in the paper for the embossing here. So we're going to really have to dig in. Yeah, we can get it. It's okay. Yeah, fluff it back up. I think it would be possible, actually. In fact, it will. Over time, it is going to recover some body over time. But there's nothing immediately I can do to make that happen without spoiling the print itself. So it's okay. It'll come. The embossing will be visible. In fact, it is. It really is quite visible. Let me show you again. Okay, we've got it here. It's okay. And the same thing. It's Hori Chon Suri Kubota Kenichi. So we're okay. Just it's not as thick and fluffy as some of the embossing. So I zoom out a bit. Somebody's talking about what we're doing over here. Just do a couple with the zoom out here. There's the print before embossing. I'm very lightly, just a touch, very lightly moistening it. The moisture will disappear in seconds, but just being there for just 1 second, it will help the embossing bite. Now she's embossed, and away we go. There's a very, very slight bit of moisture. Oh, yeah, the mask. It was because Ishikawa-san was here. Sorry about that, I forgot. We've become so accustomed to this now, you know? So accustomed to this. Masks are just now normal for us here. I didn't even notice that I had it on. Interesting. Interesting. It took a while, you know. Some months ago, you know, I'd get caught any number of times. I'd go out shopping or something, get halfway down the street and realize I had no mask on. I have to come back and grab a mask. So there's nobody else in the room with me here. Nobody else in the building. Nobody here is wearing masks when they're all by themselves. Just simply, I forgot to take it off after talking to Ishikawa-san. Keeps your nose warm, yeah. The problem is, whatever, I've got glasses as well, and I haven't, you keep trying to keep your glasses so they don't get fogged up, but there are 1,000 suggestions out there for helping not fog the glasses, but it's still trouble. Yesterday was Friday, and it was the day for Yamada-san and Watanabe-san to be here. And they were here all day yesterday shooting photographs again for the catalog, for the collection. So lots and lots. Again, a few hundred more prints will be going up into the collection. So. Also, I asked her to, that book that I showed you about 2 weeks ago, that book from early Showa era of, design, the design book with all the beautifully embossed design illustrations. I brought that down again yesterday. They shot that one, so that'll be going up quite soon. I asked her to do that one next, so sometime early in the week, I'll be popping up a link for that one. So. And we do have a show and tell later today, and the show and tell actually today, it's interesting in that I don't actually know what it is. I mean, they're woodblock prints, and I know the era that they're from, and I know roughly about them, but I cannot figure out the particular use case for them. So I'll need some interest, I'll need some feedback after I show you those prints at the end of the stream today. A bunch of very beautiful, very nicely made, tasty, tasty prints, but I have no idea what the use case is. So I'm looking forward to getting feedback and ideas on that when we get there today. What does that mean? Sorry, use case. So what I'm saying is, with a print like this, for example, this is just a print for sale. People are going to enjoy the visual appearance of it, so there's no real excuse or reason for it existing. But some of the prints we've got from some of the old days, for example, back when woodblock printing used to be just the basic printing business, we would, for example, we'd get an old print from the old days, and we can see that it's in a curved shape. So we know that that was a printing company making prints. They were going to be pasted on fans, and people would use them as fans during the summer. So when I say use case, that's what I mean. I know what was this particular product designed, what kind of market was this particular product designed for? And the prints that I'll be showing you today in the show and tell, they're that kind of a genre. They were made clearly for some specific use, but I can't tell what it was. They're not a fan shape, for example. Whatever, we'll talk about it when I get there, but it's really, really puzzling for me. Do we have blocks for accounting ledgers? Yes, we have a number of those. I've got actually dozens of those blocks, and at some point we're going to make a nice little interesting display about them. So that in the case of use case, that one's easy to understand. You've got a wood block that's got columns. We had one a while ago, a few months back, remember, that we couldn't quite understand. It turned out to be for silkworm cards. How is the embossing mold made? No, this is plastic. If this was the old days and we had reams of craftsmen sitting here working and lots of resources available, we would carve the text for this embossing. In the old days it was carved, but I'm using what's called a polymer plate. It's a piece of plastic. I send a Photoshop EPS file, and it's raised. It's about a 0.5 millimeter bumpy. There's really no need for that to be hand carved. Our resources can be used in a better way than this. So. Yeah, debossing, embossing, whatever. I guess it could be 3D printed. I'm sure they're doing this with a more traditional photographic process. It is, it's pretty hard stuff. It's pretty hard plastic. Actually, when you buy them, when we order them, excuse me, when we order them, there are two options available for when we're ordering these. And we had to experiment for a while to find the ones that we wanted, that was best. The original options the guy asked us was for how high do you want the thing? In other words, they'll make it at different heights. I don't know what their maximum is, but they will make the thing that it's that high, that high, that high, that high, whatever, within the range of a millimeter. That was one option. And the other option was the hardness. The one we ordered was actually really brittle, hard plastic, but you can order them with a more spongy feel. I guess the different kinds of printing. Remember, they're used for printing presses. And we didn't want the spongy one at all, because that's, obviously not what we were doing. We were really jamming down on this. But that's an option, height and hardness. I don't know what the term would be. So we've asked for a fairly low one. It wasn't the lowest they could do, but it's a low one, and hard, brittle. And maybe that means it would wear out earlier, but we only do a few hundred at a time, so we're not doing thousands and thousands. And there is a facility in Japan here for making these from metal. Before we got them in plastic, it's called Ironban, A-E-N, Ironban, and zinc plates. And I myself, when I was doing the poetry series, I had a set of these made for the poets' names for our packaging. So I had 100 zinc plates made photographically rather than carving them all for the packaging for our poets' prints, my poets' prints. Well, moving type, I know it really isn't necessary. We only have 3 carvers here, and we've got a dozen printers or so, and this stuff is really, really cheap. So what we do is simply, whenever like a new printer comes along, Cameron's got a layout with all the carvers' names crisscross, crisscross, and we just buy another full sheet and chop it up. It's not worth the trouble of having little pieces in the carver's name and slot in the printer's name, because remember, all of our prints here, there's different size prints. It would just be more trouble than it's worth. The easiest way for us is just to have a ton of them. We just order a ton of them all the time. And the same thing too here. Why is there another one? This combination is Chon-san the carver, Kubota-san the printer. This combination here is Nagao-san the carver, Kubota the printer. And we've got another one upstairs. It's got Buru and Kubota, and then another one with Kawasaki Kubota. So we've got 4 carvers here. Yumi-san works for us sometimes, not very often. So we've got 4 different carvers. So we have 2 of these, and that handles Kubota-san's stuff. It could be over-engineered with a little jig that chooses all the people's names, but it's just not worth the trouble. Do I still have the warped metal block from the Beauties of 4 Seasons? It's right here, and we keep it in the shop to show people. Actually, it's a counterweight. It's holding down one of the shelves over there. So. Now, what we do is, because that block was destroyed, and it's not destroyed in a way that looks bad. If you just show to people, wow, it's a carved wood block. We keep it here in the shop, because people ask us, hey, can I see one of the wood blocks for this? So we keep that destroyed block here as our show and tell block, as it were. So when people are in the shop and they want to ask questions about this, we can show them what a Japanese wood block looks like without any trouble of having it damaged. I don't want one of our real blocks here because it'll get scratched and dinged and popped. But we keep that wood block here because it doesn't matter if it gets dinged. And the metal block is here, side by side to show. Oh, did the cat run across the road? There's the cat that lives between the new bar and the crepe shop. There's a Noraneko. There's a wild cat lives there. And he uses this thing across the street as his bathroom. Where those 3 cones are, that's where he takes a dump. So he runs across the street like once or twice a day. And the cat is trouble. The cat is trouble. Because there's a dear little old lady. She comes every day at about 6 o'clock and she feeds it. And nobody in the neighborhood wants that to be happening. But what do you do with a little old lady? You know, you can't hassle her. It doesn't hunt the mice anymore because she feeds it. So she's double trouble. She stops the cat from hunting mice, and she also, what she does is, she's a dear little old lady. What are you going to do? She feeds the cat, and then of course the local pigeons see food happening. So the pigeons all cluster around her. And because she's a dear little old lady, she does what little old ladies do. Ah, and she feeds the pigeons. And the thing is getting trouble. The pigeons now, they've got their clock, and they know. Come like 5:45 or so, a few of them gather around thinking, might be something happening here. Come 5:55, there's 10,000 pigeons thinking, I think maybe something's going to be happening here soon, because they know what's going on. Well, you say Mokohankan cat mascot. There is the idea to have a cat in the building. It's been tossed around back and forth. I think one of the staff, it's a couple of years back or somebody, I forget, Teiko-san, she really wanted to have a pet cat in the building. But it's not actually so easy for us practically, because there's no way that the cat could have free run of the building. The ground floor here is one entrance exit, and the second floor is another entrance exit. So we could have an upstairs cat, but it wouldn't have access to the downstairs. And I'm not sure that it would help us anyway, because although we do have rats in the building, rats/mice, they really don't come out into our own space. The building is sort of divided into 2 zones, the behind the walls zone and the human zone. So having a cat wouldn't really help us. The cat would find access to the downstairs. Now, I'm not quite so sure that's possible. Go outside, lock the door, and come in the other through the shutter. Chon Suri Kubota Cage ですね for new visitors here. Okay, let's do a few more. As I said, I'm not going to spend the whole stream doing this. It's not fair to people who come here to watch Japanese printmaking just to see one embossing happening again and again and again. Let's do a bit of carving. Let me get about halfway through the deck here, because I do have to finish this today. So. I'm too noisy while their embossing is going on, is it? So. Yeah, the camera, at some point I'm going to get crap for this. You're not supposed to be doing this sort of thing, having a camera outside like that. It's okay to have a camera or something way up in the building, or the security cameras that are cleared with the police, but you're not supposed to have stuff outside where people's faces can be recognized. It's privacy. It's common sense privacy stuff, actually. So, And there's supposed to be signs, like the Merchants Association. Now, there's 3 cameras out there, security cameras, and they each have a big sign on them, warning there are cameras in operation in this district, stuff like that. That's part of the bylaws or whatever. So I'm sort of just being a bit of a guerrilla operation here. But if, for example, a local police officer happened to stroll down the street and notice it, he probably would say, look, this is, what are you doing? First, he'd say, and then when I describe it, he'd say, come on, that's not cool, so shut that down, please, So. But as I said, we're pretty low-key, and we're early in the morning. We're not at prime time here. But I could be asked to stop doing this. So. If I was asked to stop this, what I would do, I think, is we'd get the camera. I'd go upstairs. Where we had the stream before from the 3rd floor. Go up to the balcony up there, build a little plastic box or something, and put the camera up in the balcony there, sort of permanently, and just run a cable down or fit it into our Wi-Fi or something. So we do it, but we just do it a little bit less obtrusively. The balcony view was nice, so, and that was, because you're so far away from people, that would be less of a problem publicly. You can't really see people's faces easily from the height of the balcony, so if we did get trouble here, that would be the next thing to try. So. Just received his first set of the scenes from Nature Set. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We're trying. What you're seeing here is the one you're going to get a month from now. Maybe this is the very sheet you're going to get. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who was that? Was that a homeless lady wandering along there, bag lady? Okay, let's just do like 3 or 4 more and wrap this up. Wrap it up. I just got a glimpse of her there. I think there's a homeless lady here. She sort of parks in the back alley behind us here. She doesn't carry her stuff around all day long. She dumps her stuff in a little parking lot, sleeps out the back. A long, stringy, dirty hair. I thought maybe that was her. I'm not quite so sure. Just got a glimpse there. There are homeless here, not so many, but we have a batch. Because of the arcade, the shopping arcade behind us, that's where they sort of hang out in the evenings. So So there is homelessness here. I don't think it's anything on the scale of like a place like LA or something, but it is here. There's almost no panhandling. There's two of the ladies who are homeless here in Asakusa. They do panhandle, and we know who they are. They've been, long before I came here, they were here. They're just sort of part of the neighborhood now. Okay, let's wrap this up. Let's go do something else. Let's do some carving. As I said, it's not fair just to do the same thing again and again and again and again and again. I'll come back to the rest of this after we finish the stream. I'll come back and finish this off. Yo-sho. Oh, okay. Tell you what, before I forget. Let's do this. Let's do that little test. Let's do that peel test. Let's do it. Triple. We'll go for triple. This is not going to work. Please, this is not going to work. You're about to see me fall on my ass. It doesn't matter. Okay, for those of you who don't know what's going on, normally when we paste our designs on the block, we do so with Gumpy paper. Let's just run by what's happening here for people who don't know what's going on. And let me show you an example. Just a sec. Okay, oops, that's not it. This is stage one. We have backing paper with a sheet of Gumpy laid on top and the laser printed image on it. First step is to paste that on a piece of wood, peel off the backing paper. Then what happens is, because the Gumpy paper is quite thick, we've found that we can peel off the back side of the Gumpy paper, leaving the image on the block, and then the rest of the Gumpy paper just gets thrown away. That's the normal procedure. It's okay. Some while ago, the stream people here were chatting with me. Dave, that Gumpy paper looks kind of nice. And I was thinking too, it looks kind of nice. There's some body on it. So maybe we can reuse this piece of Gumpy paper. So again, just to reissue what's happening here, a week or so ago, I did that. I took a couple of pieces of this Gumpy that had already been peeled off, leaving 1/3 of its body on the block. And I used the spray and I put them on paper again. We did this a week ago. The torn off Gumpy went down with spray glue. I went to the copy shop, copied it, and then on the last stream we did the same thing. We put it on the wood, we peeled off the paper, and then it turned out that I could peel up the Gumpy again. Now, in getting it up, it got all torn and whatever, and I only ended up with a piece about that big that came off this one. So this was the second shot. So that piece that we tore off the other day, that little square piece, it's here. I don't know if you can see it. It's all torn and mangled at the edge. So I sprayed it this morning onto another piece of white paper, went to the copy shop, and I copied again the same tracing on here. So what we're going to do now, just for fun really, is I'm going to paste this down onto another piece of wood. We will easily be able to pull off the white paper and we'll see a tracing, but will we be able to peel again? That Gumpy, which is the third time, will it split into two more? Ain't gonna happen, but let's just try and see what happens. But again, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller here. So we're just talking about the area in the middle. We're not going to bother cutting registration marks. There's nothing, this is not going to get carved. It's just... Try and find the edge of it. Where is it? I just want to get the white paper off without pulling the gumpy off. Can we do that? We may be screwed before we even start. Where's the white paper? There it is. Here's our gumpy. Okay, here we are. Let's get rid of the white paper first. There's our white paper off. There's the gumpy left. I do not think anything is going to come up off this block. Let's try this. Oh my God, actually, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. How can I do this? Is it actually, it might actually be going to peel it. Come on, this is not possible. Are we going to do this? Look. No way. No, come on. No. Well, it's not a real peel, but look at that. We got a fragment of it. We got a fragment of it. This is the fourth layer to show. This is the fourth peel. Okay, this is interesting now because the fact that it's possible, I've got to do this now. I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it more carefully. I've just been carelessly peel, so it's getting tinier and tinier. But there it is. That's an actual fourth layer. Look at the transparency here. And it still is like a sheet of paper. It's still actually got a front and a back. It's a sheet of paper. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? I wouldn't have expected that. Absolutely, I wouldn't have expected that. But now my curiosity is whetted. Now that I know that it's possible, I would like to do this a bit more carefully. I would like to do this more carefully. For example, when I just peeled the white paper off just now, in some places it pulled the gumpy off with it. Yeah, look, here's gumpy. It came off with the white paper. So what I should have done is I should have used a very low tack, even lower tack, so that it wouldn't pull the gumpy off with the white paper. Okay, stand by for more experiments later. Stand by for more experiments. So, lighter contact. Yes, John's right on this. Use a lighter touch, or use that same spray, but just get very, very little amount on it. And another way to do this too, what I perhaps should have done is this. When I got that thing ready, I took it to the copy shop and put a design on it. Before pasting it down, there's another way, you know. I can separate it myself. Just take it off the white background. You can do it this way, look. Take it off, and then I could have pasted this down myself and then done another peel. The reason we usually keep it on the back paper is so that we get no distortion, because it's really critical to us not to allow this thing to be distorted. But just for a Gumpy test, I could have done this. I could have taken it off the white paper before pasting, and then pasted it down now, and then started to try and make a nice peel. So next time, let's try it that way. Okay, playtime over, back to work. Playtime over. But look at that, and you could carve this, man. Of course you could carve this. This is perfect. There's still paper that has to come off here. There you go for carving. My God, it just doesn't get any better than this. Fantastic. Fantastic. How did they do it in the old days without distorting the Gumpy? This is why it was really, really difficult. This is why only the top carver in each workshop was allowed to do that job. Only the top guy. And yeah, so I've got video of it. I know. In fact, I got a new video yesterday. That's another story. I got a new video yesterday of Ito-san, the guy who was in my Remembering a Carver video. A video from him turned up the other day. I'm going to talk to you about it later. We're going to get Cameron to do an Instagram post about it. Anyway, in there, he is pasting down an old hunched up. And you've just got to hold it carefully, get the glue ready carefully, paste it down so that it doesn't distort. And it was difficult. And the tiniest error, it's distorted, the color blocks won't match the key blocks. So only the top guns used to do that. Dave here, when he was learning, before he was a top gun, did it and screwed it up sometimes. During that poet series, I'd get to the printing side, and just no matter how I moved the paper, it didn't line up. It was because I screwed up pasting it down. Yeah, this should be an advertisement for their paper. I should, if I do this more carefully, take some video of it and talk about this, we can make a fun video about it. Then I should go back to the Gumpy workshop and say, well, actually, when you think about it, why would they want to advertise that? Because if people can use their sheet of paper 4 times, their sales are going to drop by 4. So I'm not sure they'd be interested, actually. Yeah, video yesterday, and what happened was I got an email from Dei-chan, you know, our young printer, Dei-chan. She's not here today, she's upstairs some days. She sent me an email. She found some videos on YouTube, and she said, like, Dave, you're going to be interested in this. And I follow her link, and it's 4 videos. One is Ito-san, the carver who helped me. One is Matsuzaki-san, one of the printers who helped me. And there's 2 more, Sekioka-san and Kawajima-san. So 4 new videos of these guys, and these are from 1988. And I'm not going to post a link yet, because I haven't seen them all yet. So I'm going to have a look at these, and then we will post publicly these YouTube links a little bit later. But right now, today, it's for me to look at and enjoy. And I'll tell you about it next week. How did they transfer the design itself on the Gumpy and made sure that everything matched? Was it drawn several times? No, it was drawn once. The one you're seeing now, the one like this. It was drawn once, the key lines only. It was pasted down and carved, and then the original was never used. It was destroyed when the carving was going on. So because the original was now gone, for the next step, for making color blocks, they printed from the carved key block to make their new transfers. This is done in our videos again and again and again and again and again. So there was no problem about lining up. If you wouldn't paste the same thing down once and twice and 3 and 4 times, simply because there was no way to get it lined up. Yes, better not mess it up. The thing is, though, because you've only got one chance, you've got your original Hokusai drawing, pasting on the wood and carving it, that's not the way it happened. Hokusai sent drawings to the publisher's place. He sent sketches. He sent some fairly detailed stuff. And in the publisher's outfit, this was all traced and transferred. on hook-size sketches. They put thin paper on, trace it, get it ready, put the border lines in, and that would be pasted down. Hook-size original wasn't destroyed in the carving, it was just thrown away. Okay, what time is it? It's 8:51. Let me do 20 minutes of carving, so then we have a show and tell starting at 15 minutes past the hour. If everybody reminds me, please. The new restaurant that's opening up next door, yesterday evening, they had some kind of meeting, orientation meeting, I guess, for the people that are going to be doing for their staffers. And I guess, I've had no contact with this, but I suppose over the past few weeks, they have been advertising and working with employment agencies or putting posters up. I have no idea what they've done. They've been gathering staff members. And they are going to need a lot of staff, because if their business is as successful as they hope it is, on that poster board that I showed you at the beginning of the stream today, on their signboard that's going to go outside, they're advertising that up on the second floor, they have room for, like, I forget what it said, 120 people. They can handle gatherings and meetings of up to 120 people at a time. Now, if that really happens, if they actually do start to get this business, and that would presumably be after the corona problem is taken care of. If you imagine next door, there's a party meeting for 120 people. That is, one, a lot of customers who are going to come by train mostly. It's also a lot of staff members, some of which who come by train, but as I saw last night, many of whom are coming by bicycle. So they had their orientation meeting last night for, I don't know, a dozen or so people. And these looked like local housewives, and they all came by bicycle. And they parked their bikes on the sidewalk outside the place here, in front of that restaurant, in front of the place next door, and in front of my shop. And there was a thicket, an absolute thicket of bicycles that we couldn't get past. I didn't say anything, and I didn't make any trouble, and I just kept it to myself, because whatever, they're busy getting organized. But if that's their plan, that they're going to tell their staff members, just park your bikes anywhere. And if that's their plan, then we are going to have trouble in River City. There are bicycle parking zones set aside in this neighborhood. Over at the express station, there's space for thousands of bicycles. In the basement of the Don Quixote store, there's an open public parking for hundreds of bicycles. They had to provide that as part of getting their permission to put a building there. And then up on top of the Rocks building, where the Seiyu department store is, there's parking again for many, many hundreds of bicycles. And this is public parking that they had to provide as part of their permission to build their business there. So there's tons of bicycle parking available here, none of which gets used, because people just toss their bike anywhere on the street and walk away. So there is a parking facility here. And if this turns out to be a problem starting from next week, or when as this business grows over the next couple of years, we'll have to try and convince them to convince their own staff to use those parking lots. So we'll see. It's not critical for me right now because our shop is closed. We don't have customers, and if there's 1,000 bikes outside, it really doesn't bother me. But if we let that become a thing, then it's going to be a real problem in the future. So we'll see. Hopefully there's going to be no hostility, because we've been friendly with them so far, and they've been friendly with us. But we'll see how it goes. But last night was disturbing. There was 12 bicycles or so, and there's no room there for them, of course. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this is the classic sign. Contour's got it here. We've had that before. The classic sign that says, free bikes. Just leave your bike here and anybody will take it. But I think, do we still have that? No, I don't have it here. So. Convince. This is not the Don talking here. Just convince me. It's just we got to have a talk about it. Whatever. So far, the people have been really super friendly. There's been no thought at all that there's going to be any trouble next door. These are local people. They've got other businesses in the neighborhood. They are not new here. They are not some outside dude walking in here to take over. They're local people. So I think there should be no reason for any trouble. And they're starting a new business which is very complex. They've got a million problems, you know. The last thing they're thinking about at the moment is staff, bicycle parking. They've just never thought about it, of course. So there's no problem. There's one, whenever you talk about the bicycle parking, it comes down to one difficult problem here, you know. The question of how much sidewalk space to use. These businesses, mine included, we're not supposed to use any of the sidewalk. Of course, we've got our own property line. You're free to use inside your own property, and you're not supposed to put stuff outside. But some of the businesses are. We've seen this before. The hot dog place, they've set up a restaurant outside. They've put chairs and tables outside and whatever. And every now and then they get smacked down, and they go quiet for a while. Then they start doing it again, you know. But the inherent problem behind all of this is that the Don of the street, the leader, the guy who runs the whale restaurant, he is a prime offender. He's got an air conditioner for his building stuck in the middle of the sidewalk outside. He gets his liquor deliveries and he permanently keeps the beer crates outside. His family has their bicycles outside his shop on the sidewalk. You can barely get past his shop because of all the crap that's out there. So this means that when some other business in the neighborhood starts to play games with this, there's no penalty for them. Because the boss man here can't say anything because he's an offender. Neighborhood dynamics. Is that a delivery that says, what does it say? Maru, before it runs away, what does it say? Maruyasu. Maruyasu. I don't recognize the name. Food delivery, I guess. There's going to be all kinds of new trucks coming now. These guys next door, if they have a real flourishing restaurant business, there's going to be all kinds of new deliveries. There will be oshibori deliveries, food deliveries, all kinds of stuff. Come on, John. The latest part of the drama. And John, next time you're here, you got to see this because you can catch some photographs of this. The latest part of the drama involves the Tuesday, the monthly cleaning on the first Tuesday of every month, you know. It's coming up again a week or so, I guess. And the first Tuesday in February will be the cleanup day. And there is a drama developing here. There's a drama developing, and it's the Korean hot dog place. I guess it's got worse during the winter, something about it. They serve their hot dog things, and they're the greasiest thing you have seen in your life. And people stand there in front of the hot dog place. They start stretching it. And this is how you're supposed to eat it. You get this thing, and it's full of cheese, and you stretch and eat and stretch and eat. And it drips. And the sidewalk in front of the hot dog place is now black. And I don't even exaggerate. It is black. The local birds hover around there because they can just peck at the sidewalk and get nutrition. There's so much grease on the sidewalk, and it has now soaked into these Italian tiles to the extent that it doesn't wash out. And Tuesdays has become kind of quote unquote interesting. The Korean people, Korean hot dog people, Japanese, whatever, Korean hot dog people are now, they've been told about this. Look, come on guys, this is too much. So they now do a little sort of, what do you call, scrubbing. They get a bucket of soap and blah, blah, and then try and scrub. But nothing happens. You scrub this black stuff and just nothing happens. So they scrub for a while, nothing happens, it cleans up. And then when the Don does the inspection, he comes around, after has everything clean, check, 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 check. He gets to the front of this place. And like, it kind of looks dirty. And they say, well, we cleaned. And it just sits there. So the stress here is growing, that they are participating in the cleaning, but they are now becoming a huge problem because this black zone, it's there and it's growing bit by bit by bit. And I don't know how this is going to get resolved. I don't know. Pressure washer, they've tried this. He rented one, not last month, maybe 2 months ago or so. He rented one, the top guy here, they rented. It was a feeble little thing. Maybe rented it from the home center. And they came across and they gathered around the hot dog restaurant and they sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. And nothing happened. Because this stuff has now really, really soaked into this, to the stone. And I don't know, if I was sort of in charge of this at this point, I don't know what to do. I think those stones really sort of have to be replaced now, or flip them over, maybe step one, flip them over. But the same is going to happen. So I would investigate, flip them over, and if there's some kind of maybe special coating you can spray on them, that the grease wouldn't go inside the stone, I don't know. I don't know. What is sandblasting, flamethrower? Yeah, whatever. I don't know. So bit by bit, the stress here is going to increase on this. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to play out over quite some time period, I think. So. And at heart, those are just simply selfish people, And if this was Dave running this restaurant or something, and if Dave had set up this idea for a business, and it turned out that my business was causing that kind of problem. Ohayou gozaimasu. Domo. Onegaishimasu. Ome kara desu ne. Hai, domo. It's a box from Ome. It'll be stuff that's going to have to be sent to America by FedEx. What's the action out here? More deliveries? More work coming for next door? Still doing something, so. Yeah, put a carpet on the floor and trash it. The problem is it's this part of the same thing. They're not allowed to put stuff out there. So they've put these chairs and tables out there. And every now and then this city, inspection guy comes along and says, take these away. And they take them away, watch his truck drive away, and then put them out again, But putting a carpet outside is sort of marking territory, So, as I said, I don't really know how it's going to play out. If this was me, I would never do that. But these people, they don't have their sense of social sense as opposed to their personal sense is a bit, out of whack, They're in their own country, I think, whatever. All this getting ready for the restaurant to open next door, in all the middle of all this, all the preparations and everything that's going on, there's still the big one that I'm worried about, the front sign. I guess they're planning something, but it hasn't been delivered yet, and there's no sign on the building yet. And that's the one that Dave here is still worried about, because my internet cable runs right across the front of their building, you know. And the people who run the new business, they're onto this. We've talked about this, and they're saying, don't worry, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay. But whether that information will get transmitted to the people who hang up the sign, I don't know. So I'm just sort of waiting for a truck to come and listening for the sound of a you know, sign being erected. And Dave's going to run out there panicking. Be careful, be careful. That's the one that's still bothering me. Not quite sure what day. Is it an overcast day today? I'm not quite sure. I can't see the sky from here. I think it's overcast. I don't know. It's not so cold today. How's our time? Oh, we're still okay for a bit. Hi. Okay, what's time? 9:10. We've got 5 more minutes. Do a bit more of this. Clear this way, I guess. Then we got some show and tell. This is a Saturday, so normally Saturday for me is a happy day in that my daily routine gets changed a little bit normally. Because it's a Saturday, what happens is in Asakusa, normally on a Saturday, it's quite busy. The streets are busy, lots of things are going on. And in a normal weekend, because there's so many visitors to Asakusa, the restaurants get really, really, really crowded. And there's not enough restaurant capacity in the district to handle the demand for it. So in a normal time, on weekends and holidays, Saturday, Sunday, and a holiday day, the local Merchants Association makes arrangements with food trucks, a whole different raft of food trucks to come on normal weekends. And they don't park on the street where we are here. There's no room on this street. But on what's called the Broadway, the street down at the end near the Don Quixote store. That's the Broadway. And always a half a dozen food trucks are parked out on the Broadway there on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So usually for me the weekends is a chance for Dave to try some different kind of food, because lots and lots of these food trucks are not your typical Japanese food. It's not like they don't sell udon and ramen and stuff like that. They're selling whatever. One was selling a Cuban sandwiches one day and stuff like this. So there's quite a variety of different kind of foods. But, at the moment, that's all off because officially Tokyo has asked for it's not a lockdown, but because there's a kind of semi-enforced quiet time, stay home, blah, blah, blah. This isn't happening. And on weekends these days, there are no food trucks out there. I mean, it makes no sense to bring food trucks when half the restaurants in the district are closed anyways. So I lose my chance. It's going to be convenience store stuff again for me today. It's okay. 7-Eleven has kind of nice stuff, but it's blander than it could be. So I'm going to have another bland lunch today. 9:15. Let's put this away. Let's do some show and tell. Since I live in Japan, do I own a Japanese watch? I've never had a watch in my life. Never. I think when I was a little kid, I got a watch for Christmas when I was 10 years old or something at some point. But since becoming normal, since becoming an adult, I've never had a watch. I just don't like the something grabbing on me. I don't know. My dad too. Something I share in the genes. No watch, no pajamas, I don't like stuff. No socks even. I don't like stuff on my body. Don't know why. Okay. Show and tell. Okay, what we have here, it's not a single print. It's from one of my folders here upstairs. We just grabbed the folder from upstairs. And this folder is marked. It's Edo Meiji, just a random bunch of stuff in here. Yeah, glad I wear pants. Pants I can handle. I would rather not, actually, but anyway, I do. Okay, they're all in folders. Let me take them out here. One, two, three, four, five. There are 5 of them. I got them a few years ago. And there's no identifying marking on these at all. There's no dates, names, publishers, signatures. There's nothing that identify these. When I look at the prints themselves, clearly these are Meiji era stuff from the era that maybe when Kuchie prints were made. So this is 1890, 1895, 1900, 1905, 1910. There's our window when these prints would have been made. And they are in pairs. They are 2 up. And normally sometimes, we make prints one by one. Carve it, print it, sell it. Carve it, print it, sell it. But also to save manufacturing costs, you can get one piece of wood, and that's what's happened here. There's one piece of wood. They've prepared 2 designs, pasted on the single sheet of wood, and carved all together, and then the printer would print them together. This blue block would just be here. This gray block would be here. The printer doesn't care. Your baron doesn't care if later on it's going to be cut and sold separately. So it's a 2 up thing. So the prints have been made 2 up. And they are all on a larger piece of paper with binding. They have been bound together here. And there is an identifying series number. This is I no nana, the seventh one in the group E. This is I no san, the third one in the group E. And what we have here is a bunch of prints from the E group. In Japanese, there's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ichi, ni, san, shigo, fine. But also, when you want to put things in groups, in the old days, it was done with the syllabary. There was a famous poem, Iroha ni hoheto, chidi nudu o waka. There was a poem that was made in the old days that used all 47 syllables. And it became common for the first group of these to be used as counters. So if you've got 3 books of something with all individual pages, it would be I would be the first group, Do would be the second group, Wa, Ha would be the third group. So it's from the Iroha. So this would be the group, the first group of prints in this catalog or collection or whatever it is. And I don't have I no ichi, I have I no ni. So this would be the second pair of prints in the first group, I. It could be Iro, Ha, Ni, Ho, but it also could be, and they do sometimes, A, I, U, E, O, the first 5 syllables. So A group would be first, I group would be second, A, I, U, E, O. But more probably, it's the Iroha. Anyway, so I have upstairs, we'll see it at some other future show and tell, whatever, I have a catalog of fan designs. You know, fans, the uchiwa fan, the round fan. And they are numbered in a similar way. And it's E number 1, E2, E3, E4, E5. So I get the idea. This is a group of prints that was prepared in catalog form, and they're numbered so that the person would be looking at the catalog and he'd saying, okay, I want to buy this. I want I no roku. I want 50 copies, please. Print them up and sell them. So this is a woodblock shop catalog of prints for some specific purpose. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, what's the end use for these prints? The ones that were a curved shape, we clearly understand. They're going to be pasted on a fan. You tell me, what's the end use for prints that are made in pairs, angled on the square and angled again at a 90-degree angle out? So were these designed to be sold like this, chopped, and that's the user? Or does the user get this thing and they get folded like this so that there's the bottom of one print and on the back side of your object there's the bottom of the other one? All I can think of is that somebody made a square lozenge type fan. You folded this, pasted it on both sides, and there's your fan. But I've never seen such a thing ever. Kites, this small, and it's designed clearly to be folded or to be cut, pasted on the front side and back side, or no connection. This is used for one object and this is used for another object. But in that case, why would they have carefully posed them this way? Why not make them both facing the same way? They are seasonal. There is a New Year one, there is a cherry blossom one, there is an autumn one. I don't have the full set. As you see, you saw the numbers that I've got, but they are clearly seasonal objects. A game. Don't know. Let's zoom in and have a look at some of the actual prints, because they are insane. For a thing that was clearly made to be a casual object, like these fans or something, these are insane. The one I was looking at this morning before I started up the stream, where was it? Which one? It was this one. It's these look like tea bushes. There's a tea farm here. There's a point at when the tea bushes are growing, if the sun gets too strong, it's no good. So they put these shading things over the tea bushes. And you can see the ladies here, they're picking tea. Okay, we've got a gradation on the tea fields. We've got another block cut for another gradation here. This lady's kimono has a gradation on it. This is not some casual throwaway fan print. There's a gradation on the top of the building in the background. These are not cheap productions. These are beautifully carved, beautifully made, really high quality woodblock prints. This is not some print it, slap it out fan, use it in the festival and throw it away. They're made too nicely. I mean, look at the scale. There's my finger. Look at the scale of carving here of that face. I mean, what? She's got hair. Chuk, 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 chuk. And the registration is beautiful. They're so nicely made. I got it for nothing, next to nothing. Homatsu, Matsuki. Matsuki could be the name of a place. Matsuki was a place name. Matsuki was the name of one of the old woodblock publishers in this era. Matsuki Heikichi was the name of a major woodblock publisher just in the era of these prints. The prints don't seem to be related in pairs. As I said, they're all seasonal views. There's a rainy season, a spring, a summer, you know. And by the numbering, it's not just a set of 12, because the numbering goes, what's the numbering? 2? No, because one of them is numbered up to 7. So this is not a set of 12 prints. If it was only numbered to 6, I could guess it was 12 designs seasonal. But it's numbered at least to 7, and maybe more. I have no idea how many more there might have been. On their way to a shrine to hang up a very expensive Emma tablet. This is Kyoto, Arashiyama. They seem to be Kyoto scenes. They seem to be Kyoto scenes. That's the famous shrine in Kyoto. This is Arashiyama. And one of them, if I can find it, hang on a second here, one of them, this is, without question, this is one of the most famous Kyoto scenes of all, the Daimonji, where they burn off part of the mountainside. Summer festival in Kyoto to show people down by the Kamo River. So again, the prints we have here are not actual used in the wild. These are prints that were bound into a catalog to show people, business people, and the business people would look at this catalog and they would order the ones that they wanted. The theme of the picture, women and child, is just scenes. It's just scenes of daily life. You're seeing women with kids and stuff. That's just scenes of daily life here. There is one that's a little bit different. This is interesting. We had the one in the snow here. This is fine. This is normal. It's just a woman with, oops, it's a dog, I guess. Let's see. This is normal. Is that a panda? No, it's a dog. Interesting leg design there, whatever. It's for Japan prints, that's a normal dog. For a Japanese print, that's a normal dog. Woman with her snow hood. This is not anything to do with Muslims or something. It's a normal Japanese clothing for winter. But this is normal. But the other one, the one that's paired with this is now the outlier for this series. There is now two things different. This is not normal day-to-day life. This is a treasure, a takarabune, a treasure boat, which was a symbol used at the New Year. This is supposed to be sango, coral, and piles of money or whatever. These are koban, money piled up. It's a takarabune, and this one clearly has a space for something else to be written or printed. This one, clearly, there would be something that would go in here. So my guess is the customer, after selecting the prints, whatever, he would say, please print in any Mokahankan Hunger Workshop, David Bull, Happy New Year, whatever, or whatever these things were for, would be carved and then printed into this space. Another idea, calendar. Calendar. Is there enough space on each one to have the dates and stuff printed? Is there enough empty space on each one? No. This one here doesn't have enough empty space for the numbering and stuff to be done. You could maybe squeeze it in on some of them. So I'm not sure. Greeting cards. Yes, again, I'm open to all suggestions. I've probably missed a lot of things here. I'll look back. Calligraphy paper. I don't know about that. They did sell woodblock printed calligraphy paper, but it was usually very light stuff that when you did your calligraphy over top of it, it wouldn't interfere. This is thick, rich, dark printing. You couldn't do calligraphy on this without either destroying the picture or destroying your calligraphy. But for me, the biggest mystery is they seem to be made specifically. There's the base of a picture. There's the base. When you fold them, if you fold them, you've got now something front and back. And the front is this picture, and the back is that picture. And it's a vertical thing. But what product would have this shape? Then maybe it's cut into a fan, and they just throw away the edge piece. I don't know. Anyway, there's the idea. It's out for suggestions. Cone wrapping for flowers. They're too small. It's simply too small to be a wrapping for something. Doi-san doesn't know. I know Doi-san's seen these. Shiranai. Doi-san doesn't know either. So we talk about cut and folded. There's no reason to put them opposing unless they should be folded. If it was going to be cut, you wouldn't do it this way. It's actually more difficult for the printer this way. If they were done in the same orientation, if these weren't going to be folded, if they were just going to be cut in squares, it makes no sense to do them this way round. It would have made much more sense to do the gradation across the top. I'm 99% sure these are meant to be bought like this, to be folded and used this way, or folded into an envelope or pasted on something to be used as a front and back. There's no other reason that they would be opposed 90 degrees. Wrapper for Korean hot dogs. Yeah, thanks, right. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. I don't know what it is. At some point, somewhere along the line, we will see, or I will find it in auction somewhere, some Meiji product. I've got the original for that, and we'll find out what it is. But at the moment, I don't know. It is a vendor catalog, clearly. It's for showing buyers, absolutely. They're in pairs, but there's only one number for a pair. So if you're going to order this one, you're going to get this one, because they're printed together. There's no way you would have been sold just this or sold just this. The person buying bought this thing, absolutely. The person buying got the pair thing for whatever they were going to use it for. Don't know. Anyway. Over to you, over to you, over to you. Are they envelopes? Are they fans? Are they what? I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, there you are. We have a mystery for you. Maybe folded the other way like a booklet. Folded the other way like a booklet. I'm not quite sure what you mean. And what I could do for fun is I could take one of these and get some photocopies made and then play with the photocopies, folding and playing around and stuff like that. I'm not going to actually fold one of these, obviously. Anyway, here we go. I am out of here. I've got lots of work to do today. Lots and lots and lots of work. FedEx, shipping, embossing prints. I have got to get busy here today. It's Saturday. I'll be back, I'll be back 2 days from now, Monday morning, with some more carving, and hopefully we'll find something else upstairs to show you. Thanks very much. Stay tight, people. Keep healthy. Thank you very much. Bye for now.